Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Weather with Jonathan here, back again with another daily weather forecast. I hope all of you guys are having a great day out there, staying safe, enjoying your nice warm weather across the country. And in this video, we are going to be going over a massive atmospheric river display on the west coast. The tropics are also heating up for the deep south and much of the Gulf of Mexico and Florida. And we are going to also go over a severe weather outbreak that could take place today. I'm going to be going over all this in your forecast. So starting off, we need to go over our current conditions, right? We can't just jump into it. We have to go over our current conditions, right? So let's take a look at what's happening around the U.S. So you can see we have those little rain shower bands moving across northern Missouri, eventually into eastern Kansas. These aren't going to really pose a threat for anything right now. It'll diminish around this-ish area, around southeast of the Kansas City area, north of Springfield, central Missouri, basically. Then we will have a couple little supercells develop behind here with a damaging wind and tail threat. Not really much of a tornado threat. But yeah, we also have this huge atmospheric river that is currently ongoing in the Pacific Northwest. That is going to be dumping a lot of rain. And flash flooding is not a concern. It's not a main concern. Sorry, but it is a concern. Yes, it is definitely possible. So I just want you guys to be paying attention to that. And also, just a quick note, I am going to be doing another hypothetical hurricane season for you guys. So I hope you guys are tuned in for that. I'll be posting that later today. So yeah. So let's also take a look at our current weather hazards right now. So you can see this is what's happening around the U.S. in terms of weather hazards. We have a couple little red flag warnings in northeastern Nebraska and one county in western Iowa. A couple a lot of counties, but in western Kansas, southwestern Nebraska, and eastern Colorado, you guys are under a red flag warning. We have some flood watches in northern Nevada, northeastern Washington, extreme northern Idaho, and northern Montana, and then high wind warnings for western Montana, and then wind advisories for western Montana, central Idaho, southern Oregon, northeastern California, and northwestern Nevada. So yeah. So now let's go over our severe weather because we are going to be talking about that in this video. I know you guys are probably like, why won't the severe weather end? Well, it's probably not going to end, and it's probably not going to get better. It's just going to get worse as we head out until later into April, because it is definitely getting active. So you can see we definitely have a lot of moisture in the air across pretty much the like about 2/3 of the U.S. This is all the moisture. This is all moisture, okay? And you know why we have so much moisture? We have all that moisture because of this ongoing atmospheric river on the west coast, and this is going to keep bringing up moisture, and it's gonna cross the Rockies. You know that happens because if you've watched my weather videos, you probably know what happens next. It goes into the central U.S. and it interacts with that moisture. And guess what happens? It spreads all that moisture from the west coast, spreads it all over the area, and this is exactly what you get. This is exactly what you get. Okay? It's like a car rolling through mud and then it splatters all the mud across the central US. It's like that. It's pretty much like that. And this is why we have this moisture in place. And guess what? We have our low pressure center because we have a system interacting with this. And that's going to cause some thunderstorm development across southeastern Nebraska, southeastern Kansas, western Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, pretty much the entire eastern portion and central portion of Oklahoma, and northern Texas, specifically the Wichita Falls area. So those storms are going to be interacting with that, and they're also going to be interacting with some fuel or CAPE, is what we meteorologists likes to call it. So this is our values are going to be mainly focused to be around 500 to about 1,000 joules. So that's marginal CAPE, so it will support thunderstorm development. And if those storms can eat it up, which they probably will be able to if it's right in that environment, and you've got no cap, then it's probably going to interact with that. So yeah, so they're going to interact with that. They're going to blow off, and what we're going to have is we're going to have a big old line of discrete storms, and they're not really going to have a big tornado threat. Then we'll have some prefrontal supercells around southeastern Kansas, extreme southwestern Missouri, and northeastern Oklahoma. And that is why the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for portions of central Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. Now, if you guys live in that yellow area, that's your slight risk. So you should be aware. I also would be aware of a little severe weather if you live in the marginal risk or that dark green risk. Now, if you guys live in that like light green risk, I wouldn't really um, worry about severe weather. I just worry about maybe some showers and maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two in your area. So we also want to go over what our threats are. So hail is first of all our main threat. We have a 15% chance, so we could have definitely some a large hail that could be present with these storms. Now, a tornado threat is not really our greatest. It's just a tiny little threat for southeastern Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Then wind is also a little bit of a bigger threat for northern Texas, central Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, and extreme western Missouri. So we also need to go over our atmospheric river. And yes, I will go after, it'll be after this, but I will go over the tropics. So can see we got a lot of heavy rainfall across portions of northwestern Oregon and western Oregon, of course. Western Washington, this is where I'm concerned for some flash flooding. Could also have a little flash flooding up here in northern Idaho, northwestern Montana, and definitely northeastern Washington, because that is where more of the heavier rainfall is going to be focused. Now, finally, this storm will get out of our hair by about the 13th, and for you guys in Western Oregon, Western Washington. But then you guys know what happens. We get another system that comes in, and then finally just it'll get better, and then you know what happens? Another storm comes in, and these have a lot of moisture, so it's going to support snow. It's going to support rain. It's going to support all kinds of stuff, flash flooding. And guess what, you guys? You know what comes with flash flooding, right? Flash flooding comes with rain, and it is caused by rain. So, I am definitely concerned for a little bit of flash flooding, definitely in the mountains of Washington and Oregon, specifically the Cascades and Western Oregon and the Sierras of California. This is where I'm concerned for some flash flooding. And also, yes, the Sierras are going to get in a little bit of rain, and specifically even a lot of rain, maybe even upwards of an inch to 6 inches in California mountains. Now, California, I'm not really concerned for you in the Central Valley and the northern part, only really in the mountaintops. Now, some of that is going to fall in the form of snow, so not all of it is going to be rain, but still, you should watch out for a little rain. So now let's take a look at our tropics, and I'll show you exactly where some of these storms are going to end up happening probably. So some of these storms will probably end up happening around this area in the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. So they're just going to move up through. They're just going to pretty much go basically like that. And yeah, so let's take a look. You can see there's just going to be constant rain down there. That's because of some tropical systems. Now, I know you guys are probably like, well, why does the models not show low pressure systems? Well, that's because they're just isolated little areas of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. And this is going to just keep continuing throughout the entire month of April. And unfortunately, it's just going to get worse because the models are starting to hint at a tropical system right here in the Central Atlantic. Now, this is very likely not to happen, so I wouldn't worry about this, and especially I wouldn't really worry about this about coming inland because this is in the middle of the Atlantic. This is probably not going to come ashore, but yeah, and guess what? Remember how I said there's a bunch of showers and thunderstorms disorganized specifically in the Gulf of Mexico and along the Gulf Coast? Those are going to bring a lot of rain. And now this is a look at the deep south. I'll go to you guys in the south, but this is what it's going to be doing in the south. So yeah, you guys are probably like, whoa, that's a lot of rain. Yeah, that is. And I'm definitely concerned about flooding, and I do think this will end up happening, especially for you guys in southeastern Texas, southern and southwestern Louisiana, and southeastern Louisiana, and definitely you guys in southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and western Florida, specifically the western panhandle of Florida. Now, this is what I really can get for you guys. For more western, I'm definitely really concerned for flooding, especially just along the Gulf Coast, especially right here in the circle. So definitely you guys southwest of Houston, you guys are going to get a lot of rain. I'm very concerned about that. So you guys need to be aware if a flood happens anywhere near you, you guys need to be prepared. And yeah, you guys need to stay safe if you're in a flood situation like that. So yeah. So thank you guys for coming and watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And don't forget, I have another note. You guys, you love my hypothetical hurricane season for 2022. So I'm back with it again. I'm gonna do another video today. So be sure to stay tuned in